Well, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome you to this important session of our workshop. We will explore the connections between mental health, emotional well-being, and religious and legal values in Islam. Our speaker for this session brings with him a unique and deeply experiential perspectives. Please join me in welcoming Professor Vladimir Filyakov, also known as Karim Maliki, originally from Russia and now based in Cape Town, South Africa. Karim embraced Islam in 2006, a transformative journey that laid the foundation for his lifelong dedication to Islamic learning, teaching, and emotional healing. From 2022, he taught humanities and Islamic studies at Dallas College in Cape Town. In 2019, he founded Al Khibra Academy, where he continues to teach Quranic Arabic to English-speaking students around the world. And in 2025, he launched the Full-Time Muslim School, an institution designed to provide young Muslim women with both religious and secular education and an inspiring example of value-driven holistic education and practice. But perhaps what makes Karim's work especially relevant to today's discussion is his development of nafsopathology, a faith-based approach to emotional well-being that he began working on in 2017. Drawing on Islamic teaching and his direct experience working with clients, he helps individuals address emotional struggles through spiritual insights and religious grounding. While he doesn't come from an academic psychology background, his work has produced tangible, positive results in the lives of many. In this session, he will explore how mental and emotional wellness intersects with Islamic values and objectives of Sharia, offering reflections from the heart, the tradition, and lived experience. I would also like to highlight that the Ijtihad Center is among the first institutions to open up space for discussions like this, exploring emotional well-being and mental health through the lens of religious values and Sharia legal norms. As a center committed to bridging academic knowledge with lived experience, we strive to introduce fresh and often overlooked topics into the academic space, believing that renewal begins with courageous and sincere conversation. Um, just we want to welcome the Professor Karim. Professor Karim, you can start.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Everyone, can you please confirm you can hear me and see me as well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, and what I'm gonna do now,
Yeah,
I am going to I will try to okay. I will try to share my screen with you. You should see um
yes,
you should see the screen. Is that correct? Can you see my screen? Should be saying Excali draw. I will type whiteboard. Can you please confirm? Hmm? Sarah? Everyone? Anyone?
Yes, I confirm.
Okay, perfect.
I ha
So, may I?
yes, I have a problem, a technical problem in my page. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you very well. As long as you can
Okay,
hear
let's
me
start. Yeah.
and see the whiteboard, I think we should be good. Yep, yep. May I have your permission to start officially? Yeah.
Yes,
So
you
I
can
guess,
start. Yes.
yeah, okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ijtihad Center. Thank you to each of you personally, individually, for inviting and also for joining. So Sarah has introduced me. I don't have anything to add to that. Was very generous introduction. So topic today, I have made 7 points to talk about. I don't want it to be one long monologue. I see it as more as invitation to dialogue. So I will be making a point. I will be drawing some things to visualize and to help you understand. And also I will be creating knowledge as we speak. And maybe at the end of every point, I pause myself and I invite you to contribute, to share, to ask questions. I see it as invitation to discussion. I don't come here to lecture you. I came to share, and I expect to learn in exchange. So I would like to start first of all with a disclaimer, because topic has mental health, the word health in its title. This is not a medical advice. Whenever you want to do anything when it comes to diagnosis, changing lifestyle, taking any kind of medication, you always talk to medical professors, medical professionals. I am not a doctor. You can classify me as coach, you can classify me as consultant, educator, tutor. So I am not prescribing, I'm not diagnosing, I'm not treating anything which can be qualified as disease. So this is a first point. Second disclaimer which I need to make is what is our scope of discussion. So basically, when pathology is applicable, what's beyond our scope? Our scope is outside, or things are outside of our scope, is what is treated and what is classified as psychosis. And I think I miss psychosis. I might misspell it. Yeah, psychosis. So this is psychosis beyond our capacity. Psychosis requires different kind of interventions. We are speaking about normal, neurotized individuals. What does it mean? That means people who suffer from anger management, anxiety, even to the point of panic attack, struggling with grief, which even if it goes to the level of depression, people who suffer from shame, loneliness, some kind of addictions. All of us, in one way or another, prone to just think of smartphone addiction, think of smoking, think of caffeine addictions. All of us are guilty one way or another. So this is for neurotized individuals, and in my estimation, it's probably going to be 90, if not 95 or 99% of population. All of us are impacted one way or another. So this is what we're talking about now. So pathology is not applicable to treat children. It's not applicable to deal with couples and psychosis cases. So once we have the disclaimer, we can talk about mental health and emotional well-being. So how do we even start thinking about it? What's the difference? Is it the same thing, just using different expression, or are we talking about two absolutely different phenomena? So for this, I'd like to summarize the whole essence of pathology for you. I would like to literally 5 minutes summary. So that's a human being here. And human being is made up of 3 elements. So human being, and this is a classical definition, open any book on علم المنطق, on the science of logic, they will tell you what is حيوان, definition of حيوان is, a definition of insan is حيوان ناطق. It is an animal which possesses intellect. So what we have 3 dimensions of our existence. We have thing which is that we share with angels. And thanks to the intellect, we are responsible for our actions. Children are not fully responsible for their actions. Animals, inanimate objects, not responsible for the actions. It's mad people, like what I have said above about psychosis, are also outside of our scope of application and the limits of our discussion. And intellect is the quality that we, as Muslims, we believe, share with angels. It is the angelic element because angels also possess what in Arabic we call aql. Then at the same time, besides having intellect, we have something what you could call in a sense opposite of it. Because natik, part of definition of insan, it is the one which possesses intellect. And then we have something what we call, another second half of this definition is haywan. So we also share things with animals. And those things that we share with animals, they are instincts. Instinct of survival, instinct of procreation. This is what allows us to survive. So animals don't have intellect, we know that, and angels don't have instincts. We also know that because they never disobey Allah. It is us who can disobey Allah because sometimes we can decide to follow our instincts even though intellectually it is not in our best interest. But the fact that we have both these two aspects of our existence, intellect and instinct, so this is what creates third dimension, and that's what puts a human being in this peculiar situation, and this is what we call emotions. Because what is emotion? Emotion is what makes you human being. Animals don't have emotions. Yes, sometimes we can project on animals and we can say my dog is missing me, my dog is loving me. In reality, behavior of animals can be 100% explained using instincts. And of course, as you know, angels do not experience emotions because they don't have instincts. Angels don't procreate, angels are not male and female, angels are not scared of dying. They don't have this fear which is an emotion, which is a result of survival instinct. So we have this amazing thing which is called emotion, and it is uniquely human because no one else possesses it. Well, we can also, I'm not going to talk about psychology of gene. I don't know how gene operates, it's the whole different world, so really not applicable, not part of our conversation. So what it means, when we say emotional well-being, and that's my position, that's where I come from, that all our problems are emotional. Sometimes we experience certain emotions, and I will talk about why we experience them. And those emotions, they intend good for us. They come, every emotion that comes, it is a messenger. The problem with us, it is, and this, when I say problem with us, I mean as human beings who live in our epoch, and I also say, unfortunately, as Muslims, because we have kind of abandoned the original teaching. Unfortunately, we did not abandon the teaching, just that our behavior and our mindset is not fully aligned with that. We try to run away from the emotions. We try to fight emotions intellectually. So what does it look like? Every emotion comes with a meaning. Every emotion has a message. For example, when you experience anger, it means that you take it as there is a danger. An emotion is telling you, you need to do something about it. For example, you need to fight back. You need to protect your boundaries. And you can feel angry when someone is physically pushing you. You can also experience anger when someone, for example, is insulting you. So what is happening? You have certain instincts which kick in, right? So instinct of self-preservation, of survival, and as a result you have emotion of anger, and in that, after you experience anger, now you have certain thoughts. This is very important to understand, that it's happening exactly in this order. In other words, we have certain instincts are being triggered, and this is all biology. We can speak about stress level or stress hormones and their level in our body, cortisol, adrenaline. So it's all physical experiences. For example, your breathing pattern changes, your heart rate. It's all in the body. It's in your hardware, as they like to say. Now, then you have emotions. You have certain physical experience in your body, and that physical experience start directing your thoughts. So you become more aggressive. You start thinking about situation in a specific way. Exactly same thing happens to anxiety. You have experience you experience the instinct of survival instincts, the instinct of self-preservation kicking in, that's the instinct. Then you have emotion, which is fear, and as a result of this, you start having thoughts which are worries, which are concerns. You start looking for a danger, in a sense that first you experience emotion, and then that emotion will direct your thinking in a certain way. People try to deny it. People try to find a way to deal with their emotions by means of thinking. People will try to let me think about it in a different way. Let me reframe it, as some will say. But in reality, no. In the same way as emotions determined by body, in the same way, your thoughts, your intellect is guided by your emotions. So if we understand that, you probably will understand why I prefer to say emotional well-being and not mental health. So mental health, if we say mental health, we are already late. If we try to treat it on the level of our thoughts, we have to treat it on the level of emotions. That's point number one. Second one, the moment we're using the word health, we start medicalizing the emotional problem, and then what are we left to do? We just say that, okay, only thing we can do, we can take antidepressants. If we have depressions, we can take tranquilizers. If, let's say, we suffer from anxiety and panic attack. So in reality, it's all in our hands. So, the result of this journey of learning, practicing, teaching, it's a very liberating experience, because the other picture or other perspective that we have is that we don't know what's happening with us, but we're going to go to some kind of psychiatrist or psychotherapist who is going to fix us by giving us certain prescriptions, and we are losing our freedom. We are going and saying someone else, please fix us. This is what happens when we medicalize the problem. This is what happens when we say mental health, as if we are wrong upstairs. We are not wrong upstairs. The problem where we are wrong, it's one level down. It happens on the emotion. So every emotion is a message. Fear, anxiety is a message that you are in danger. Take yourself out of this situation. Anger is a message which is saying you are being attacked, protect yourself. Not run away, but what they call not flight response, but fight response, in case you heard about this expression, fight, flight, and freeze. When you're experiencing grief, it's an emotion, and that emotion is coming with the message that you have lost something. For example, you have lost a family member, you have lost a friend, or even just think of what's happening in Palestine. There is so much grief there because people have lost everything what they have built, what they have been building throughout their lives. So, and we can go on, and we can speak about emotion of shame and emotion of guilt, emotion of loneliness, emotion of boredom, but any emotions come with a message. There is a problem, you need to fix it. The problem not with the emotion. That's going to be my next point. Before I'm going to go there, I think I'll just invite each to contribute, to share, to comment, to make an observation. The problem is not the emotion. The problem is that we are resisting to the emotion, and my next segment will be talking about resistance. If anyone would like to contribute, add, comment, something, please, I'll be happy to engage. Is that what I explained more or less clear? Are we on the same page?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Anyone? No? No one. Okay, so then I'll just continue. So we
Any
need
question?
to.
No? Okay, you can continue.
Okay, very clear. So once we understand that that's my angle. It is not biochemistry of brain suddenly changing randomly, genetically, unpredictably. So it feels like we are the slaves of the situation. It's just that we are experiencing certain emotions, and I think since I speak about emotions, I need to give it a definition. What is an emotion? Emotion is a body feeling that when I say body feeling, it means that as a result of instincts kicking in, it's a body feeling that intellect interprets as related to the self. So what does it mean? It means that you experiencing body feelings. You always experiencing something. Each of you, like if you are sitting, for example, you can sit a chair, you can experience chair, for example, and how is it hard or soft. Maybe you're laying down, you can experience a pillow. You experience, for example, I experience how this ring is touching my skin. We are always experiencing something, but not every feeling, not every experience in our body, somatic experience would be the proper word. Not every feeling is an emotion, because, for example, the fact that maybe I'm feeling cold or maybe I'm feeling hot and I'm wearing a suit and tie and I start sweating. It's a body feeling, yes, but it is not related to the self. It's just that it is a hot weather and I'm overdressed for this weather. So it's a feeling which is not an emotion. Or, for example, I could be sweating as a result of hard work. It's a feeling, yes, but it's not a emotion. But, for example, if, let's say, we have a different context, and let's say this is a presentation which I'm doing as a part of my job, and let's say Sarah is being my boss, and Sarah is saying that, Karim, this is a terrible situation, we're going to fire you. And it is at this point I start, let's say, blushing, my face goes red. Is that a body feeling? Yes. But now intellect interprets this body feeling as related to myself. It says to me something about myself. For example, it could be emotional anger, and I'd start, for example, attacking Sarah back. Or maybe it's going to be experience of shame. And if it's experience of shame, it means that something is wrong with me. Maybe it's gonna be experience of guilt where I felt like I really let my team down. So it's also about me. It's about me. It's a certain body feeling which is telling me something about myself. Is it a danger that I have to attack? Is it a danger I have to fight back? Is it kind of sadness, disappointment that I felt like I had certain expectation from Sarah, but Sarah gave me negative feedback. I'm disappointed. So it is a body feeling that tell us something about ourselves. And it is here that the problem starts. At this moment, there is no problem. There is no neurosis. We just have certain experience in a body. And right now I have to say that there is no such thing as negative emotions. People speak about happiness, positive happiness, joy, as a positive, good thing, and for example, grief, anxiety, anger, bad emotions. There is no such thing as good and bad emotions because emotions are not thoughts. Your ideas can be negative and positive, like number can be +1, -1. But when it comes to ideas, you can be optimist, so we say positive worldview, positive mindset, negative. If you are pessimistic, that's a mindset. Positive, negative, let's say projections to the future. These are all mental thoughts, afkar, right? Suwar dhihniya in Arabic, they'll say it's mental concepts. But when it comes to emotions, body feelings are not positive and negative. Body feelings are body feelings. So body feelings can be, for example, hot and cold. Yes, I could feeling hot, I could be feeling cold. I could feel feeling tight, and I could be feeling relaxed. And I could be feeling like a contraction, and I could feel like expansion. So all of this is body feeling. Body feeling is not described as positive and negative. So as you can see, so far there is no problem whatsoever when we have anger, when we have fear, when we have grief, when we have loneliness. None of them is positive or negative. It is just feelings which have specific interpretation. And if we can agree on that our problems come as a result of emotions, yes, then why those emotions why those emotions become problem. In other words, okay, we understand we need to be angry sometimes so we could fight back, protect ourselves. We need to feel sad sometimes. So by sadness, we understand that, for example, it has changed. We have lost, let's say, you have lost a spouse and you're feeling sad. Why it is so? Because there's a message that, okay, now you are feeling sad, you have lost something or someone. Now you need to go and make restitution to yourself, and you need to, let's say, for example, find another spouse, or you lost a friend, you need to find another friend, and so on. Well, yeah, so it's amazing. Always thought that it's from another direction. Thanks for the explaining. Well, I can answer to this by just giving one example. Think about yourself being in a good mood. Just you are in a good mood. It's a good, I know, things going well at work, good weather, your projects are going well. You will find yourself when you are feeling happy, cheerful, you will find that the same events, you will interpret them differently. So, for example, when someone, let's say, will ask you for help, when you're in a good mood, you feel more generous to help, isn't it? But let's say it's the opposite. You will find that you are stressed, anxious about something. Let's say you're sad about something. The same thing will happen. Let's say maybe you won't be as encouraged to help others. And little things become big problems. Why? Because your emotional state, it's like your emotions is a shortcut. It's a shortcut to your response. Emotions, if you want to kind of a proper terminology, this is our conscious. This is our unconscious. And this is our subconscious. That's the terminology I use to talk about things. So subconscious is our instincts. If instincts become affected, that is what, for example, happens when people lose their identity. People forget what is their sexuality. People forget what is their sex and gender. So this can happen when crisis is going to the deepest level of human existence, right? So when the instincts are affected, when people fight, or for example, when you have sexual deviations, that means that yes, it's going very deep. This is the deepest level of nerves or the person's. This is all self, by the way. This is all nerves. The deepest level of nerves has been affected. Hence, we speak about nerves pathology, problems of the nerves. But mostly when we are dealing with what people call, what I call emotional well-being, people call mental health, is we have problems on the level of our emotions that we have not processed, and those emotions are kicking in, and they create problem because we start thinking in a very suboptimal way. So you can see emotions are directing your thought. It's extremely difficult when people say, well, why are you feeling so sad? Just, think about something nice. Well, it does not work like this. It's because you are not feeling well, you're going to have negative thoughts and not other way around. It's very important to understand because we live in the society, people call it materialistic, right? In reality, it's very, very ideological. It's based on mental ideas, the Western civilization. Who are the founders of it? Who are the intellectual inspiration for this? Immanuel Kant, you can read what is enlightenment. The whole idea of enlightenment is to build a society based on the rational principle in its public sphere. It's very, very much intellect oriented. And this intellect has a very, very shallow definition. It's very much detached. From this, we have the whole idea of patriarchy. I have a different idea what patriarchy is compared to what would be the feminist critique, but it is correct. This society is very much built by certain group of males, and as a result, we are suffering from that. That was a digression, but it is important to understand that emotions guiding and directing our intellect, it's very, very difficult to guide your emotions through your thoughts. Okay. So now at this point, there is no problem, isn't it? All emotions are just our friends. We just have to listen to them. When we are scared, we need to take an action. When we are sad, we need to replace the loss. When we are lonely, we need to go and establish meaningful relationship. When we are bored, we need to make some meaningful changes in our lives. When we are ashamed of ourselves, well, just means that we need to fix something about ourselves. When we are feeling guilty, it means that we need to restore the justice and make it up to other person that was offended by us. When we are angry, we have to protect ourselves and so on. But that's not the problem. The problem is that we're experiencing resistance. So if that circle would be human psyche, right? Someone would like to say it is your brain. I will just say your nerves, your psyche. So you see, we are having certain problem here. Let this red circle will be a problem. And let this problem will be feeling of shame. So I am not okay. And let this problem, different people can experience it differently. For some people, it will be about how other people look at them. So people would say something wrong with me, I'm poor. Something wrong with me, I am uneducated. I am belonging to certain ethnicity, certain kind of certain kind of social identification which society gave to it. Then you will ask, where does it coming from? But that's the whole different other topic of childhood trauma. When we are children, we are learning everything from our parents, but we are learning everything. We're not able to critically filter and learn what's right and what's good for us, the supportive beliefs, because many unhealthy, unsupportive beliefs are transmitted throughout the generation. We are poor, we are poor, we are poor, we are uneducated, and so forth. So nevertheless, we are not going to enter the topic now of childhood trauma, because otherwise we will never get done. Now it just suffices to say that what happens is we are having that certain negative emotion, shame, or could be fear, or could be grief. But what the problem is not that we have a shame, but maybe let me make it just fear and anxiety. The problem is not that we have emotion of fear. The problem is that we are actively resisting to that emotion of fear. And I'll make a different color. Let it be blue. So what it means, let's say have a fear of public speaking. And let's say it happen at so many people. It's not even a rare example. Maybe some of those who will watch this now in recording will recognize themselves and can easily come from traumatic experience in school when teacher was not sensitive, teacher themselves had some anger management problem, and during your school presentation when you made a mistake, teacher made fun of you, and here you have shame, and here you have sense of fear, shame, something is wrong with myself, and fear of, let's say, public speaking. But now here is the problem. And the problem is that most probably in your professional life, you will get to the point that you will need to do presentation, like I ended up doing presentation right now, isn't it? So you will have different kind of presentation, presenting yourself at job interview, every kind of work. People like meetings, people like presentations, PowerPoint, and so forth. The problem is not that you are experiencing fear. The problem is that you are resisting the fear. So you have a fear, right? You when you starting presentation, you feel like your heart is beating very fast. You feel like your throat is dry. You feel like your hands are sweating. So you're experiencing fear, but what you are doing, you are trying to resist it. You deliver presentation no matter what. You find ways to mitigate that. For example, you will read out loud instead of just having a live conversation like I'm doing, right? I'm not reading out loud. I'm here, but someone to try to avoid it will read from the paper, making it very boring. Someone will, for example, take some kind of tranquilizers and will take some kind of medication to calm them down. I don't know, some people when they flight, Russian people are famous for that. They get very drunk. People take it in a sense that they show disrespect to others. They do, but it's their way of dealing with the stress of flying for many people in Russia. So the problem is not actually the fear, because fear is just calling you to do certain action, right? The problem is that as this fear happening, we are resisting to this fear. This is the actual problem. I think there was a question here. That's me, yeah. So, okay, it's good if someone can relate. Yes, so is it public presentation? What public speaking? Muna, if that's okay, I would then use that example. So yes, so we have this fear and we resist this fear because why we resist it? There are two explanations, one very complex and deep, and one is very superficial. We resist it because it is uncomfortable. We resist it because, yeah, public speaking. We resist because it comes with the uncomfortable feeling, and by our nature, we try to run away from what's uncomfortable and we want to go to what's comfortable, right? We like good food and we don't like food which is tasting terrible because those sensations are unpleasant and we want to have pleasant sensation, and the fear comes with unpleasant sensation, isn't it? So we are trying to run away. Yeah, I can use anger as an example. Give an example. I don't know, we could, no, okay, it's not exactly since it's a workshop, maybe if Sarah could allow someone else to come on the camera, we could make it a very we could make a practical demonstration. Would Sarah allow if we have
Anyone wanna to practice?
to switch on the camera?
My camera?
Not Sarah, whoever wants to, or at least as a microphone.
Okay.
Off camera, but
Okay.
microphone
Okay,
on if
Ilham.
someone is able to.
Okay, Ilham, can you join us?
Hello,
She's
yes, of course.
okay,
Hello,
so we have
Ilham.
Ilham. Okay. Ilham, which one is your situation?
Well, actually, I have fear.
Of what situation?
Fear of exams.
Okay, fear of exams. Let's do that a simple exercise. So what I ask you to do, can you just close your eyes?
Yeah, all right.
And just focus on your breathing. Breathe in, breathing out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Just allow yourself to relax. Forget that you are actually in a workshop and just imagine yourself writing the exam. Imagine you're actually writing the exam and you are in that situation. Okay, I just want you in your mind, you hear my voice, but in reality, you are in the exam classroom. And what you hear my voice, but in your mind, you can see actually papers in front of you. You see other students. You see the teacher now. And I want you right now experience everything what you experience when you are writing the exam. Experience that fear. Can you experience it?
Yeah,
Where do you
actually,
experience?
like,
Where do you experience it?
my fear is before the exam.
Okay,
I
before
don't
the
know how to
exam.
explain it. Yeah,
Okay,
whenever
so
I enter
mhm,
the exam, I hope like having those fears. But before the
mm,
exams, like I
okay.
have frustration and
hmm
pounding heart, pounding. Sometimes it would be like a trauma, or I don't know how to say it.
Okay, so basically you're not scared in the classroom, you're scared before.
Yeah, before.
When last time it happened?
Well, actually, this year I want to to pass my PhD.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't got the exam. I failed the exam.
Okay.
So, but I entered two meetings. Like I didn't think that it will hurt me. but it did hurt me a lot because after that I
Okay, so
had
when do you
another exam.
experience fear? You say you experience fear before exam. In what context? What, you're sitting at home, you're preparing for exam, what?
Yeah, like maybe what I am
Yeah,
studying
so
right
can you
now
think of that
isn't enough.
situation? Think of that. When exactly we're experiencing that? When you
While I am
experience? Mhm.
while I am studying,
When you're studying, can you think of
while
a
I am
specific
studying,
day? Can you think of specific day when you were studying and you experienced that feel, the
um,
anxiety?
yeah, actually, like it
Can
was
you?
before 2 years
Mm-hmm.
in my master's degree. I
Okay.
didn't like I didn't study all the half semester because I
Okay.
was in the
So
hospital.
think of that situation. Think of that situation when you were actually studying and you experiencing anxiety. To the point that you couldn't concentrate, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was that anxiety? If you would remember that situation now, what did it feel like? What did anxiety feel like?
Well, I couldn't find someone who would heart pounding sometimes.
Okay,
Sometimes even when I am asleep, I overthink a lot, so I
okay,
can't stop
okay. So
overthinking.
okay, let's pause here. Let's pause here. Okay. Thank you for that contribution. Let me get back to the presentation.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so what we're having here. What we're having here, we are having certain fear. Okay. And the fear comes as a body feeling. So you see what happened here, actually, it's not the fear in exam, it's the fear before the exam. And when you sit there, you see the questions, for example, you say, okay, questions easy. But it is that fear, expectation of something bad to happen, which actually prevents you from sitting down, taking notes, probably revising, memorizing, and so on. And this fear is happening as heart pounding. Yes. And then as a result, you get thoughts. And we resist it. The problem is that what is the problem with resistance? The problem with resistance is that the more you resist this fear, the stronger the fear grows. So basically, if you had a first instance of fear, for whatever happened there, we don't know, it was a small fear, relatively, so your resistance level was also quite small. Maybe it was something in a school. I don't know. This is not a private consultation. I'm just guessing and speculating. Or it could be also maybe sometimes parents, make their child stand and recite, I don't know, poetry, sing, perform in front of others. And maybe it was a very bad experience in a sense that people laughed, something like that. So it is at this point we learn fear. Fear is the learned behavior. We learn that this is an unsafe situation of public speaking. So it is at this point where the fear is planted. We plant the seed of fear because you have that's basically what trauma is about. Traumatic experience outside and the deep down inside we say that something is wrong with me, for example shame, for example, just giving random examples, and then the fear that this situation is unsafe. But then what happens that we live our life and we have to go through situation which very much resemble the initial traumatic situation, and what we have to do, we have to resist. So I would ask Ilham, I'm not sure why text probably, how would you resist this? Yes, how do you resist? Okay.
Well,
Okay,
actually, for
yeah.
me, I just think that whenever I have a fear, I just forget about it and go through this fear, and I don't know, it wouldn't matter for me. Just
Yeah, so you have a fear, right? You have a fear that that thing will happen. You always, because just how do I know if that fear exists? It means that you were resisting it. It's just, it's a plus 1 or 1 plus 1 equals 2. It just means that you were resisting it in one way or another. So what was your way of resisting it?
I just don't do anything.
Okay, see, the resistance coming as running away, right? So, for example, you need to study, that putting yourself in a stressful situation that you are going to write the exam. So, by me closing the book, I put myself out of the situation. Running away is a valid strategy. Is a fight, flight, or freeze, right? Someone else would attack people, for example. They would come angry. They would take it out on others, and someone else would just experience deep grief, depression, whatever. So also Muna, I guess, Muna says that recited Quran in the kindergarten, graduation, since then you have fear. So I guess something happened there. Maybe it's absolutely normal for a child to make mistake, but people, maybe teachers, parents, public took it on some level like it's a public disgrace. Mona, you tell me, am I is my assumption correctly? So people made it a big deal. Right now we understand that child making mistakes not only normal, it's absolutely natural to make mistake for a child. What do you expect from child? How far can make mistake, right? And by the way, it's we are not responsible for the things we done or by mistakes, by forgetful, but that's gonna be my next topic. So you see, it is something has happened, and we by us continuing to resist it. So if you take Ilham's case, um, by us resisting it, for example, I'm scared of exam, I need to study, I'm closing the book, I have let, I have shut this down. I'm not feeling fear anymore. So fear is there, but every time you resist it, you train it. The fear will only grow. It's always the case in a sense that, for example, you need to do public speaking and you're scared of public speaking and you decline public speaking opportunity. Or you will say the only way for me to do public speaking is to read it out loud, to just read it from the scripted presentation, not speaking to people, which makes it interesting, engaging, but I feel like it is dangerous. I'm just going to read the text. It's going to be boring, but I feel like I protected myself from looking stupid. And people who, for example, are scared of flying airplanes, they would say, you know what, I'm going to travel by car, or I'm going to travel by bus or by train. Every time they resist this fear by running away from the situation, they are training this fear. So because they validate this fear as legitimate concern. Sleeping too much a way of resistance. Look, it's difficult to say just at the top of the head directly, but one way of resisting could be just going to bed. I don't want to do anything because when I'm trying to do it, it's stressing me out. So avoidance behavior can be different. Some people can go into addictions. Yes, smartphone addiction makes very easy. Some people going into food, what people today call comfort food, isn't it? So I'm feeling angry, so let me go and eat something. I'm feeling anxious, let me go eat something. I'm feeling sad and lonely, let me eat something. Comfort food is called like this for a purpose, for a reason. So the problem is, the more you resist, the more you train that uncomfortable feeling. Why? Because that uncomfortable feeling is coming there. For example, fear is coming to protect you from danger. The man who is scared of flying, he is experiencing fear of airplanes, and he says, I'm going to take a bus, I'm going to take a train. Unconscious writes it down as valid fear. Why? Because the purpose of this fear was to save you from death, and you were saved from death. So it means that that feeling, that emotion of fear is valid, is been validated, and it's growing, growing, growing. And the same with public speaking. It might start as just feeling slightly nervous, but you can train it by resisting it more, by avoiding every public speaking opportunity. And if you're going to do that, public speaking, the fear of public speaking will become more and more real. and it's just going to be more and more difficult to deal with it in the future. Yes. Yeah, scroll on my phone. Yeah, that's an example. That's where addictions are coming from. Why people struggle with addiction. And it doesn't have to be even phone or food. You can think of drugs. You can ask any narcologist, any person who comes from the medical background, when the people who suffer from drug addictions get to this rehabilitation centers, it's actually very easy to get drug as a substance out of their body, like 1 month. That's it. And the person is physically clean. The problem is psychological addiction. The problem is that the person, for example, suffering from loneliness or suffering from shame or suffering from guilt, and then person is using drugs to run away from this uncomfortable feeling. And the more and more and more you run away from this, the more and more and more it's difficult to get back to being a human being. Yeah. Right. So that's the problem with resistance. And it is this, when you, on one side, you have this unpleasant, uncomfortable feeling, and on another side, you have resistance. It is this, what we call neurosis. Neurosis is not just an uncomfortable feeling. Neurosis is the uncomfortable feeling plus resistance to this feeling. Now you see it's a structure, because the definition of structure is the set of elements that are related to themselves, and this is the two elements which are protecting feeding each other, training each other, growing each other. And also what you find that it's very rare that you just have one uncomfortable feeling of fear. Situation is mostly complex, because besides fear, for example, you're obviously going to have shame. I am not okay. Something is wrong with me. I am scared of public speaking because I believe I am, for example, stupid. And besides shame, you can also feel, for example, anger. Why? You would feel angry when certain criticism, certain negative feedback which is given to you by the people, say that, well, they will tell you, for example, well, when you prepare the presentation, can you please speak to people, not just read it from a page, but really interact with people, make it interesting. The person is what they call triggered, and now person is exploding. How can you talk to me like this? What are you allowing yourself to say to me? Okay. Yeah. So now it is at this point where we have. Boy, I'm trying to. Yeah. When we are having neurosis, neurosis is a system, and system is protecting itself. It's not going on its own. You would have, for example, certain physical diseases. You can get cold, right? And the cold can go easily on its own. So just give yourself good rest, give yourself good sleep. You have, I don't know, lemon, garlic, ginger, whatever. Again, not a medical prescription, but you have those, natural ways of strengthening your immune system. It will go on its own. Right? Right. Neurosis is not going on its own, because neurosis, unlike flu, cold, think of any other diseases, some kind of seasonal headache and whatever. Unlike that, neurosis exists to protect your survival. Neurosis exists as gonna be a survival instinct is kicking in, because it's really, according to it, you are putting yourself in a dangerous situation. And every time you resist to it, you confirm that, yes, it is really a dangerous situation, because if it would not be dangerous, I wouldn't have to resist. If it would not be dangerous, I would just speak to people. I would just engage in public speaking fluently, freely, without any concerns. So it is not uncomfortable feeling only, but it is resistance to this uncomfortable feeling which keeps neurosis going, as well as it growing and growing and growing. And now we got to compensate for this. What this emotional disbalance becomes our new normal. in a sense that, for example, we have addictions, right? To help us go through through our lives despite our anxieties and you feel sad, so you go on the phone, you feel angry, you go and eat something. So this becomes our lifestyle. Becomes also our routines, and it's unbalance becomes the new norm. So that's why neurosis is not going away on its own, not going anywhere. Rabbit. Okay, that's not for me. Okay. Right. Is there any interaction? Is there any observation here when it comes to neurosis being a structure made of uh, emotions, an uncomfortable feeling, and our resistance to it? Anyone? Anything?
No, everything is clear.
Okay. Right. So if that is the case, we can continue. So the question would be, okay, we understood the problem. How are we going to resolve the problem? Well, you see, the problem are on the emotional level. By me explaining to you how the resolution happens, it's not gonna resolve problem for those who just listen to it, because I'm talking to you on the conscious level. And what we are doing is, during the emotional work and now pathology, we're going to the level of unconscious, we're going to the level of emotions. But I just need to remind you that when we speak about healing, if you use the word healing in English language goes to the same root letters as whole. So basically, what does it mean to get healed? It means to become whole. What does it mean? Why do we need to become whole? Because when we are not healed, when we have our emotional well-being challenges, we are not whole. We are disintegrated, so to say. So what does it mean we are disintegrated? It means that there are certain things about ourselves, just to say certain body feelings that we are experiencing, we reject them. We reject them. We don't want to face them. We're running away from this. We suppress them. We negate them. We project them at others. Probably everyone heard this, the word project. It's already part of everyone's vocabulary. So all of them, those are just psychological defense mechanisms and certain behavior strategies by means of which we are running away from this. But it is exactly the same thing of running away from it. It's what prevents us from healing. Okay, people say that the link doesn't work, but I don't think it's directed to me. So we need, for healing to happen, we need to you have probably heard this thing of the letting go. But if you want to really tap into those fears and understand what is that fear is warning us about, what is this shame telling us, what is this anger, why are we experiencing, not running away from them, but tapping into it. And it is at the moment when we tap in those emotions, what happens during my consultation, that people start remembering certain childhood situation, first instances in their lives when they had this feeling and they had these ideas about themselves, as if they are stupid, as if they are ugly, as if they are failure, as if something is wrong with them, they are not okay. So you see, it is to integrate and to get healed in order to become whole. First and foremost, it is about letting go of resistance, because resistance is what keeping the neurosis together, and resistance is what feeding those uncomfortable emotions. And if that resistance going for too long, then we have situation becoming worse. Compulsive thoughts at certain point becoming voices in your head. So we're going from OCD to psychosis. Sadness that we don't want to treat because we don't want to feel sad. We want to force ourselves to smile by entertainment, by food, whatever. Then sadness and grief is turning into depression and anxiety that we don't want to treat because we don't have time for that, right? We want to run away from it. Well, anxiety then turns into panic attacks. So, which is depression is grief taken on another level, as you could say, second level grief, and anxiety is the next level. Panic attack is the next level anxiety. So it is at this point. It's just means that the system is not working anymore. At certain point, there was a compensation, and system tried to keep the balance. Yes, the balance was you could say skewed. The balance was uh, it was unbalanced balance, but the person kept it all together. And then when we have a total disintegration, it is at that moment where from anxiety, where we just have dryness in your throat, then people end up having panic attacks where the heart is beating very fast, when the person have problems with breathing, where the person can have problems with digestion and all those kind of things. It is a result of rejecting of part of who we are. That is what is all about. And of course, if you will look at mainstream psychotherapy, I don't need to tell you that, unfortunately, when it comes to the mainstream, we either going straight to body level, and that is basically everything related to psychiatry. So that people just giving you, also certain psychotherapists who come from the medical background, they straight start giving you drugs. So you have a problem, they want to switch off that symptom or that symptom. They want to, for example, calm you down in terms of your stress levels. Yeah, for example, they'll give you selective inhibitors of the reverse serotonin uptake, trying to artificially keep the level of serotonin, which is so-called happiness hormone, in your body. So that's one way. And there is another way, another approach, mainstream approach, which is, you could call it talk therapy, where the people try to talk to you rationally, logically, intellectually, trying to make you understand, try to make you start thinking about it in a different way. But again, all of them are missing the point, and I believe extremely inefficient. If you have a problem on the emotional level, you can't change it by going from the intellect, because it's going to be nearly impossible, because emotions control the intellect, not other way around. And when you just want to interfere in your body chemistry, that's gonna work, yes, but again, no chemical solution for existential problem, as they say. I think Mona unlocked her microphone. Is that a comment?
Yeah,
No?
I want to say that I used to take courses on public speaking. Do you hear me?
Mm?
And I took three courses on public speaking, but it doesn't work because they just force you to speak and tell you that when you speak, everything is just going to be all right. And I even became a trainer, but I then realized that I can't even speak to on the camera by myself. So I became a trainer to help others when I can't even help myself. So yeah, that's what happened. So I decided not to do this anymore because it just doesn't work.
You see, this is the yes. So to answer that, if you have a problem which is related to experiencing certain emotions in a certain situations, yes, so for example, public speaking, it cannot be resolved by giving you skills which your unconscious beliefs are dangerous for you. For example, it's like saying, Karim, you are scared of flying. Why won't you become a pilot? Does it make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. Am I going to encourage? Will I be encouraged to learn about flying? No, because I'm learning how to die. And yes, I can force myself and I can memorize all the study materials, but how is that supposed to make me not scared? Because what happens is when there is anything has to do with the airplanes, my instincts are kicking in, I'm experiencing emotion, and my thoughts are coming in as a result of stress hormones being raised, their levels being raised in my body. It's not possible. No, you cannot. If you feeling hungry, can you make you stop yourself feeling hungry by thinking yourself in a certain way? No, you cannot, because it's a body feeling. You cannot say think about it differently. Think like you are full and you had a big meal. It does not work like that. And if on a body level I am experiencing, for example, my hands are shaking, now my mind, my brain is searching actively for the danger. I'm entering certain mode, which is danger search mode. And because previously in my memory I had certain kind of experience related to flying, that answer is found immediately. You are in that situation which resembles previous situation, so here is the danger, you should be scared. So instead of learning skills, and you are learning things which are unconscious beliefs are unsafe for you, your question should be, how do I, instead of feeling anxious in the public speaking context, how am I feeling calm? How do I feel excited? Not anxious, but excited, because I am here, I'm about to share things with people. I was recently having a session with the person who wanted to, I guess you categorize it as a social anxiety. Meeting new people created fear. So we walked from this anxiety because you're seeing a person and you don't know about it. And then we getting resistance. Maybe I should not show up at all, or maybe I need to find out more about this person. Who is that person? Because it's as if by resisting it, we are going to come down. We're not going to come down. We're just making it that fear grow by sending it a message. Yes, you are valid fear. Because if you would not be valid fear, I wouldn't have to do anything. So whenever we trying to fix things on the level of thoughts and on a level of behavior, we cannot change our emotions. Sharia, in that sense, it's not what I wanted to say, but since we got the Sharia, that it's very clear, because when it comes to protection from zina, you got two things. So first of all, you are not supposed to be one-on-one with the unrelated woman in the situation of seclusion, right? And young men are encouraged to fast, those who cannot get married. See what we are doing here. By fasting, we are addressing things on the level of the body. On the level of the body, because your body become weakened, so your procreation instinct is now not as strong as before. And secondly, you're not putting yourself in the situation where your instinct of procreation is going to kick in, so your intellect is going to be switched off and you end up committing haram action. Sharia is very clear on that. It's, I don't know, we are honestly following that Western civilization for unnecessary reason. Okay, how, yes, okay, I was just about to go to that religious, but let me answer this question. How do we deal with the emotions that has entered as a result of post-trauma? So how do we work there? Extremely difficult to work with it on your own. I can tell you, right? It took me 7 years. Of course, it took me a certain time to find out the right way. Is it possible to be your own therapist? Yes, it is possible, very difficult. It requires very strong level of mindfulness. Mindfulness, it's exactly that, realizing that right now you are driven by your emotions. Yes? And that's very difficult because person is already acting on autopilot. So very difficult to do it on your own. Again, I wish 7 years ago I met someone like myself now. Many things would be resolved very fast. But that's why I say yes by by finding a specialist who works with emotions, not the one who just gives you drugs, and the one who just wants to talk to you about things and wants you to complain instead of resolving them. That's number one. So by working with the emotions, how is it happening? Well, by working with the emotions, by tapping it, by experiencing in our body, we are understanding what those emotions are trying to tell us, because they were always trying to tell us. The moment we get into those emotions and listening to their message, now we get to we remember those situations, those traumatic experiences that planted the seed of those emotions into our body, into our mind, and into our body. And by this, that's already guided work with the practitioner. You're able to understand what are those decisions that you made back then, and those decisions, they were justified back then in your childhood, yes, but those decisions are unproductive, limiting, disadvantaging you today. And by understanding this, you are able to experience those emotions. Once you experience those emotions, you are able to change the decision, and you can realize that, well, back then I decided public speaking is dangerous, but once I understand why it has happened, and once I let myself experience those emotions, now I understand that there is absolutely nothing. There is absolutely nothing dangerous about it. And then different people, they need different things. So for example, you might have parents being involved, and maybe a close person in your life hurt you, and then maybe in that situation it's important to ask a question: would you be ready to forgive the person? Would you be able to let it go? Another question could be possibly asked is that, would you be able to forgive yourself? Forgiving yourself by betraying yourself, by making a conclusion, by deciding that there is something wrong with you and living like this for many years of your life. So, and there are many other ways one can do, but it also depends of what is the actual situation in front of us. It's difficult to give a one answer that fits all. But let me just get to the things related to religious. I'm just going to, I know we are not having too much time. Let me just say that when it comes to Islam as the deen, and you know the deen of Islam has three aspects: Iman, Islam, Ihsan, and then you have three sciences: Aqidah, Fiqh, and Tasawwuf. Islam as the deen, which is, you know, means submission, Istislam Tam. Islam on an existential level, it's letting go of resistance. Islam is not trying to resist the reality. That's what kuffar do, isn't it? Kuffar try to resist reality in many different ways by saying that Prophet ﷺ was a poet, or he was a liar, or he was doing sihr, or he was just read the stories of the early nations and so forth, because they don't want to make decisions that would affect their daily lives. So then we have the whole idea of kufr. You know, what's the kufr? Satar, covering up. So Islam, in reality, as a deen of Islam, is the abandoning resistance. We're not resisting to the Creator, we surrender ourselves. And by this surrender, now we can actually look at the reality the way it is and not trying to reject the actual situation. And when, you know, we talk a lot about prophetic medicine, Tib Nabawi, and we often end up saying, I don't know, black seed oil, yes, or we can say, for example, honey or dates or this and that. But the deen of Islam is the prophetic medicine, Tib Nabawi, and it is how you relate to yourself, how do you relate to your parents, how do you relate to the members of your community. This is all a healing. This is all being whole. This is all not being disintegrated, by being absolutely integrated. And well, I did prepare a few things. I think I'll just go over it. So you go to the every kind of thing related to the ahkam. Let's take ibadah, and let's take something we do on a daily basis, such as tahara. You will find out that Sharia, and I find it amazing. There's just one another miracles, because it's not like people who were studying Sharia and people who were muftis and fuqaha, they did not specialize in what we call ilmun nafs. But you will find that, I'll give you one example. We know right now that resistance is the thing which is causing the problem, yes? And you have lots of people who are suffering from what we can call religious OCD, yes? So you have people who struggle with just making wudu. They wash, I don't know, they wash their hands for 10 times, 100 times, and they still believe that there is some dry spot in them. Then you have people who suffer from not just forgetting what rakat they are, but repeating 100 rakats, million rakats, and it always felt like salah is not perfect. You can have people who are extremely conscious about impurities. To them, it feels like the whole universe is one big thing which is impure, that everywhere they feel like they've been affected and touched by najasa. Yes, so you have those kind of, you could call it religious OCD. And if you will look at the Sharia, and the guidance is very easy: no resistance. You don't resist to it. So what happens if you believe that something, certain substance touched you? Or are you supposed to take certain action about it? If you take certain action, it would be resistance. And next time you're gonna do it again and again and again, and you're going to be more and more cautious, and then eventually you're going towards the madness. And you can, like, yeah, I'm not a great scholar of Maliki fiqh, but if you will look at the book for the beginners like Ahdari, he would be saying إذا تعاينت النجاسة غسل معها ومن شك في إصابة النجاسة نضح وإن أصابه شيء شك في نجاسته فلا نضح عليه. So if whoever was touched by certain substance, drop of something fell, and he doubts, is it najas or not? He does not even have to sprinkle with the water, because then you have people. Let's say you're passing by, and you see people are doing some washing, cleaning of impurities, and then it's splashing all over, and you're not sure those splashes. You know that splashes were impure, but did they get you or not? You just sprinkle over it. But when it comes to something touching you, and you're not sure what touch me, is it pure or not, you are not even sprinkling over it, because the moment you start taking an action, you are resisting, and next time it's just gonna go stronger and stronger and stronger. And it is the same thing you can mention with waswasa. Yes, what we know, the whispering, when it comes to salah, when it comes to what they call hadath, losing your wudu. Sharia, the guidance is that you are not entertaining those doubts. Because if a person has constantly, every day, not once in a while, if it happens once in a while, yes, you take the what they call ihtiyat, you take a precaution, right? You do it safe. But if it comes to you every day, you disregard those thoughts. Now you have a special ahkam. You are what is called muwaswas. You are muwaswas is shaitan, muwaswas. Yes, you are the one who is struggling with those obsessive things. Yes. And there is a hadith. So what's important is we need to recognize, sometimes it happens to you once in a while, maybe once in a year, once in a month. Yes, you're going to play it safe. Yes, you make a wudu again. You are making salah based on the less amount of rakats, those that you're sure that you have done. But now the moment it comes to you every day, now you have a special hukam. And because of that, you are not going to resist it. Now you are just ignoring those thoughts. And to conclude this, and then we can maybe have an open discussion, maybe to something more, profound. The real. So we can speak about different level of not resisting, right? On the level of aqidah, we know is the accepting that Allah is your creator, and you accept that you were created, you have a beginning, you have an end, you are body, right? And body in the world of physics has to follow certain laws like gravitation and stuff, our bodies also have to follow certain laws, which are ahkam of Sharia. So that's a basic level. Then on the next level, we're going to tahara, we're going to go to salah. We also accept those as rules, and we don't resist, because we understand that if we resist, if we resist our obsessive thoughts, the more we resist them, the stronger they become. And the end, to conclude, there is this amazing book by Sheikh Ibn Ata'illah al-Sakandari. It's called At-Tanwir fi Iskat al-Tadbir. So illumination through abandoning trying to managing your own affairs. So this is the highest level. And what he is saying is basically sometimes you find ourselves in the situations and we resist them. We can resist situation, for example, where are we in this life? We could resist, maybe we would like to have a higher social status, right? We would like to have better jobs. We would like to have more money. Someone would like to be married. Those who married would like to have children. We always tell ourselves that right now we cannot be happy. We need to have that one thing, and then different people gonna call it differently, right? For someone it's the car, for someone it's to owning their own house, for someone marriage, for someone kids, you name it. For someone needs to publish books, someone needs to become famous, PhD, you name it. And we say that until we got there, like where we now, we don't have permission to be happy. And when we are going sometimes through difficult times, we feel like no, we can't make it through. So that book is exactly about that. That book is in a nutshell, and that's a Sharia and that's tasawwuf at the same time. That's both law, Sharia, and that's beliefs. So that's what you would call tariqa and haqiqa in ilm tasawwuf. It is abandoning, trying to plan your life. So taking away that resistance, realizing that what has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen for you, be pleased with that. I think this is the highest level you can abandon your resistance. Like we can abandon our resistance on a very, like basically, like every emotional, every person who experiences emotions can do, right? To deal with anxiety, depression, panic attack, right? Just abandon resistance to experience those feelings. What are they telling us? Where are they in the body? Where do they take us? What decisions we have made? That's a very basic level. Then, of course, where is my other one? Speaking about Islam and the deen of Islam, we submit to our human situation in this universe. We created for certain purpose. We have a birth, we have death, and then we have resurrection. So we are not amongst the kuffar. And in our practice, whether it's tahara, salah, everything, we abandon resistance. We abandon, we don't resist anymore. And I think that's the highest level of abandoning resistance. This is the ultimate happiness. It's to be able to be happy with what you have now. This is the greatest challenge. There is absolutely nothing you need to achieve and you need to have. The book is Tanwir fi Tanwir. I'm gonna type it. Tanwir fi التنوير في إسقاط التدبير. Yeah. We can be absolutely happy right now. And the hadith is known, yes, that a person who wake up in the morning, there is no physical pain, physical ailment in your body. And then you have enough food for today. It's like you have the whole dunya. So basically, don't ask for more possession. If you are suffering from physical pain, we understand it's a physical thing. If you don't have food for today, again, it's the hunger is the physical thing. Everything else, every other reason, every our excuse we give ourselves not to be happy with what we have now. Just add to the fact that you are Muslim. Alhamdulillah ala ni'mat al-Islam wa kafa biha ni'ma. Everything else, what we're telling ourselves, this is just a mistake. And if it's a mistake, where does it come from? It is all coming from here. It is neurosis. It is certain emotions where you cannot give yourself to be permission because you were not given that permission in the childhood. Because maybe you got a bad mark in school or like made a mistake in recitation, and the teacher said, why are you smiling? Why are you laughing? Why are you so happy? You're supposed to feel guilty. You're supposed to feel ashamed. You're supposed to feel sad. Ask yourself a question. When you maybe don't perform at work, maybe, I don't know, you yes, you underperform. Can you, or things are not going well, can you give yourself permission to be happy? Can you give yourself permission when you are not wealthy? Can you give yourself permission when you just have problems? Or you tell yourself, I can only be happy until I reach this and this and this. Well, that's exactly neurosis, because you believe that happiness is not safe. You believe that you need to achieve something. You need to buy a car, and you need to become famous. You need to get specific salary, and you need to other people to tell something about you, is it your spouse or your children or your parents or your boss at work or anything. No, 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 no. There is absolutely nothing which prevents you from being happy right now. It's only mistaken thinking, because maybe marketing programming us, our environment programming us, or it is just neurosis. It is just some childhood mistakes we have done as a result of traumatic experiences that took away our capacity to be happy just because it's a good weather outside, or just because you met your friend and the friend is wearing a very nice dress, for example. It was enough for us to be happy when we were little children, isn't it? But then suddenly it feels like we need to have a right, we need to earn that right to be happy. So, and you can be happy right now, only only thing we need to do, we need to let go of resistance. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason why we should not be happy right now. Yeah. تنوير في إسقاط التدبير. Yeah. So I think that's what I wanted to say. I think we can have a conversation if we still have time.
Any question, please? Do you have any questions?
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, I I might have interacted more, but like this is so interesting.
فقط ملاحظة. من لا يستطيع أن يتحدث باللغة الإنجليزية أو طرح سؤال باللغة بالإنجليزية فالأستاذ كريم يفهم اللغة العربية.
نعم.
Yeah, all right. So my question is, I kept thinking those days that maybe the next fear or next trauma wouldn't be as good as I can handle it more. I don't know how to explain it.
يمكنك الحديث بالعربية؟
قلت لك أن مشكلتي هي أنني هذه الأيام بدأت أشعر أن مواجهتي لهذه المشاكل، لهذه المخاوف أو هذه trauma. I don't know how to say it, trauma. لا يمكن لجسدي مواجهتها.
صحيح، لا يمكنك. هذا صحيح. مواجهة في نفس الموقف أو في الموقف الذي يعني فيه شبه للموقف الأول، إن كنت تحاولين هذه المواجهة مباشرة، يعني كالشخص يخاف من public speaking، يخاف من الكاميرا، من التصوير. كانت هناك منى، أليس كذلك؟ منى قالت أنا أخاف من public speaking، لكنني سأتابع الدروس، يعني سأدخل في البرمج. برمج. أنا الآن أصبحت متعلمة، أصبحت معلمة لبابليك سبيكينج، لكنني الآن أخاف منهم. يعني المواجهة بالضغط يعني كما يقول بالغصب أو عصب بغصب، يعني by force. هذا سيدور، هذا سيدور. لماذا؟ لأن الآن هناك الخوف، والخوف يقول لك آه هناك يوجد خطيرة، خطيرة لك. هذا الشيء، هذا البرزنتيشن، هذا يعني الفرصة للكلام أمام الملاء خطير جدا. وأنت تحاولين المواجهة، يعني أنت تحاولين difficulty, let me say, you are trying to break through, you are trying to force the healing. You understand what I mean? You are trying to force it. Fear is
Yeah,
protecting you from something, okay? But you're saying, no, I'm going to force it. Fear is telling you, danger. Don't do public speaking. Don't speak in front of camera, danger. You say, no, I am going to do it. And before you had anxiety, you know? But you are forcing, and anxiety is saying that human being, or Ilham or Mona, doesn't matter, that human being is not listening. Your unconscious is saying, I'm trying to protect you from something very bad happen. I know people will start laughing, people will give negative remarks and criticism for the unconscious, because it comes from the childhood trauma, that is interpreted as death. Okay, so basically from the unconscious emotional perspective, you are working towards dying, and normally fear is enough to take you away from it, so you'd resist and you would save yourself. But now you say that no, I am going to do it. So, and then when anxiety is not enough, your unconscious is going to anxiety level 2, which is panic attack. Because you can try to fight anxiety, try fighting panic attack. Try fighting when your heartbeat is maybe 150 per minute. Try fighting anxiety when you're running out of breathing. And we can go through what happens in your body when your what you call it muscles are feeling extremely tight, when it feel, because all the what you call it, all the blood circulation is now what you call it, in the survival mode. So you can forget about trying to deliver a sensible presentation, because right now it feels like you're dying, or it feels like you're going to collapse, or it feels like you're going mad. It's going to probably one of the three common scenarios. Okay? So it's not possible to force healing, because what you're doing, you're just trying to put enormous resistance. So it means that uncomfortable feeling has to go stronger. Another example, let's say we have a state of grief, Huzen, right? Sorry, just for this, it's easier for me to explain in English. I don't, maybe on fiqh, I would engage you in Arabic, but yeah. So when it comes to grief, yes, let's say there was a painful breakup, divorce, whatever, and now you're experiencing grief, and the grief is telling you now you don't have a partner in your life, go and find someone else. But it's uncomfortable. You need to see it, and you need to cry, and you need to, sometimes you need to share it with others, and then we resist. We say that no, I'm not gonna cry. We say that I'm not going to go and talk to others. And then we say that, okay, let me fight it by, I don't know, going and walking more. Let me fight it by what else we do? We give ourselves some extra goals. Let me try to distract myself with studies, work, and whatever. And grief is telling you, you lost something. Make it up. Don't make it up where it's convenient for you. Make it up not in your career, not in your financial well-being. Make it up in your emotional well-being, where the problem actually is. But what we do, you say, no, I will pretend like I'm smiling. And then again, when the grief is not enough, when you're ignoring it, grief becoming depression. And depression is very interesting English word, depression, because it means depress. So all this time you're pressuring yourself. So it's now time to start depressing. And then if before you were feeling sad, and then just maybe you would come home after work and you didn't feel like socialize, you didn't feel like doing anything, with the depression, you might find out you not even be able to get out of bed from to go to work. Now try fighting that. And I have to talk about depression specifically because if you today I spoke about fear of flying, right? So when it comes to flying, the job of a pilot, from what I know, is I'm not a pilot or anything, but you know, airplane can go like that and like that, and as long as it like that and like that, there is even if it goes like that, there's still a chance to take it out. But when it comes to not military airplanes, but the one that we fly in our daily lives, the moment it goes like that, like straight down, it's already too late. You cannot just take it out. So no matter, I think it's going to be useful for everyone because maybe we can have friends and family members who could go through this experience, so you would know what is happening. The job of every person is to make sure that it doesn't go like that. So in a point that, because depression basically makes impossible for you to be happy. This is what we need to understand. It makes it impossible for you to be happy biologically because it's related to the serotonin hormone. And when we are letting ourselves going down, 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 there is then a certain point at which it's just life becomes so unbearable that death, and that suicide, becomes something like legitimate way out. And people who describe those experiences, they say that there was a person who tried, almost committed suicide. He said that I went out to the roof of my apartment building because of suffering from depression. He was smoking, was about to jump. Fortunately, his friend managed to get him. But he described his thoughts and said, I did not feel like I'm going to die now because of that enormous, enormous pain in depression. It felt like I'm going to jump off the roof. I will die. I will jump. It's death, but then I get up and I continue walking. So that death in that state of mind feels like dying to stopping pain, but not dying as ending life as we understand. So again, it's just that pain becomes so unbearable that thinking becomes impossible. So we can forget about those things of think positively and everything. Depression is not working like that, and we can forget about trying to fight panic attack by rethinking it and focusing on positive. It does not work like this. Our job is to be in touch with our emotions, realizing that this is what makes us uniquely human. We are not supposed to suppress them and reject them, negate them, yes, denying them. And also, we are not supposed to fighting them. You cannot fight emotion. You cannot say, I'm scared of public speaking. I'm going to speak, let me start speaking to 1 million people now. That's what's going to happen. I know I come from Russia. In Russia, there is a very common kind of industry of coaching related to, interaction male to female, right? So there are lots of male who say that I'm shy of talking to women, and they also go into the coaching. It's called pickup coaching. Pickup meaning like picking up girls, right? We're speaking about non-Muslim context, obviously. So, and then what they do, these coaches are telling you know what? Go to the mall and start doing something extremely inappropriate because you are scared of shame, isn't it? So put yourself in a situation of shame, do something incredibly stupid. For example, fall on the ground and start singing, start doing some ridiculous dances. Now you're going to put yourself to the state of shame, and they think that by putting yourself in that situation, you will realize that there is nothing to be scared, in a sense that you were ashamed and now you survived, so nothing to be scared. It doesn't work like this because people who go through those experiences, then they end up with panic attacks, they end up with obsessive compulsive disorder. Well, whichever part of the body, part of the psyche is weaker, and then someone can go to the bipolar, someone can go to the borderline personality disorder. It's not nice. So no, we are not forcing healing like this. You can't force anything. I just want to make it clear that we're not rejecting emotions, we're not suppressing them, right? But we're not fighting them by trying to say, aha, you're scared of it. There is no solution to that problem by trying to taking just medications which numb the symptoms but they don't resolve them. There is no solution through conscious by trying to think about it differently, talk about it. There is no solution through behavior by trying to doing it again and again and again, because you're going to reach certain point that you're going to get physically exhausted, because it takes enormous amount of pressure by forcing yourself to do things that you believe are dangerous. So people can get setback in that walk, and then people end up getting even worse. So no, there is no force, there is no pressure, only gentle tapping into emotions. And that's why, like what I'm doing, I can say at least there is no side effects, unlike the drugs. And unlike what they call exposure therapy, where they just say, are you scared? Go and face your fear. No, that's what called re-traumatization. You're getting it even worse. I know it was a long answer. I hope it covers it and explains what do I mean, so I wouldn't be misunderstood.
هل يمكن أن أضيف شيئا آخر؟
هل يمكن أن؟
أود أن أضيف شيئا آخر ولدي
نعم
سؤال أيضا.
تمام.
كل ما قلته ينطبق علي وهو صحيح جدا، لأني كنت أفعل شيئا نفسه، يعني أجبر نفسي على المواجهة وأضع نفسي في تلك المواقف عندما كنت أخذ تلك الدورات. ثم لاحظت أن هذا لا يجدي نفعا. ثم بعد ذلك انتقلت إلى أني يعني أفعل ذلك على مستوى المشاعر بدلا من الأفكار. ولكن حتى أن حاولت أن أعالج صدماتي في الطفولة، ولكن أشعر أن مع ذلك حتى عندما أعود إلى تلك الصدمات وأحاول أن أعيش تلك المشاعر، أشعر أنني لم أعد أهتم حتى إن عالجتها أم لا. يعني أشعر أنه نفس الشيء، لا أود أن أغير شيئا. مثلا عندما كنت صغيرة كان لدي صدمة بسبب أن صديقتي تركتني، فأصبحت لا أحب أن يكون لدي صداقات. فحتى عندما عرفت تلك الصدمة لم أعد أهتم أن يكون لدي أصدقاء أو لا. فالأمر بالنسبة لي سيان. أيوة نعم. يعني أشعر أن سواء على مستوى الأفكار أو على مستوى المشاعر، لا أشعر أن هناك فرق كبير. هناك فرق، ولكن أفضل بالتأكيد عندما تعالج الأمر على مستوى المشاعر، ولكن على مستوى الأفكار لا أشعر بأي فرق. أشعر بمزيد من المقاومة.
We see when it comes trying to deal with the thoughts, we think we are rational being. We are not. You will probably think during your day, most of your decisions are made automatic. When you wake up in the morning, you already know where is your bathroom and where is your food. You know where is your work or study. You know where is your phone. Now think of a situation where every time when you have to get up, you would have to make always new decision. Find this item. Where is my clothes? Where is my phone? Where is my glasses, book, whatever. You're gonna get tired after 10 minutes of making decisions. So what we have our unconscious, like, learning every skill means making that skill unconscious, unconscious capacity, or unconscious. And most of your decisions are done unconsciously. And then when you make a decision, it takes lots of energy. So it means that most of our lives, we are basically going on an autopilot. We don't make every decision for every action. And how it happens, because each of us, we have different professions. Someone is a doctor, someone is a teacher, someone is a driver. So we see world differently. Our filters of perception, okay, we have different, we focus on different things. Doctor will focus on this thing. Driver will focus, for example, on the movement of the cars. Teacher will focusing on explaining different concept. Translator will focus on the words I used in the sentence and what are the words in a different language. So we have already have certain thought patterns, right? So this is unconscious. Same thing here. When we are seeing those situations which create those emotions, our thoughts are going on the autopilot. Before you will try to think and say, let me think about it differently, your thoughts are already going in a certain direction. It's a biology, it's a neurological or neural connection. Is the literally, you can think of it like wires in your brain, and they're wired in one way, and the signal is going here. So it's very easy to explain why it's not gonna work. But working with emotions, actually, I find it's the most compassionate thing for us to do to ourselves. We have to be gentle to ourselves. And I have to say it specifically in the context of the deen, because lots of people, I understand they well intentioned, but we really need to meet people where they are. And sometimes you think that the person is lazy, procrastinating, whatever. More often than not, it's not. It could be depression, it could be some kind of just, burnout, whatever. We have to be compassionate to ourselves. It's a very important thing. Not forcing things upon ourselves. It doesn't work like the force, it doesn't work. We have to allow ourselves to heal. We can't force healing. I think it's a very important thing. Not putting yourself in a dangerous situation. Learning happening outside of the comfort zone, but in a safe space. I just hope it's very clear. Learning is happening outside of comfort zone, but in the safe space. You have to feel safe when you are doing the learning. And I think more us, if I look generally at Muslim communities, we are being harsh on ourselves. Someone will say, no, we are lazy, we are this. Look at the time of Sahaba. Of course, look at the time of Sahaba. Look at the society outside. Look at the time of Sahaba, where if person is hungry, person would go and steal, and nothing would be done to him. Everyone would say that, of course, why you make this person steal? Because you're supposed to give him sadaqah. He's hungry, right? Well, I don't need to tell you about economic situation. I don't need to tell you about how our communities, families are not the same as they're supposed to be. Ustad Jawad? جواد اوكي كيف يتحول
السلام
الخوف من
عليكم.
الله عز وجل اوكي فهمت
السلام
اوكي
عليكم.
وعليكم السلام اوكي ما رأيته الآن لاحظت أن هناك سؤال كيف يتحول الخوف من الله عز وجل
أتمنى أن تكون الأسئلة فقط في نطاق غير خارج عن الأيديولوجيا أو شيء مثل هذا القبيل.
أنا لم والدي هم الذي نرجوه دائما للخوف من أوكي فهمت الخوف من الله والخوف من المجهول بسبب حر أنظمة تمارس التخويف كلمة أنا لم أفهم النصف الثاني من السؤال
أستاذ جواد يمكنك
نعم.
أن تطرح السؤال؟
نعم، شكرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. شكرا أستاذ على المحاضرة القيمة والساهرين على
وعليكم
جميعا.
السلام.
تسمعني أستاذ؟
نعم.
مما لا شك في أن الله عز وجل قال في كتاب الحكيم ونبلونكم بشيء بعد عبد التراجيم ونبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. يعني الخوف هو فينا، يعني لا نخاف الله ونرجوه، ويعني كيف يجب أن نتعايش مع الخوف، لأن الحياة ستنتهي في الدنيا وتبدأ حياة في الآخرة. لكن هذه العوامل النفسية الاجتماعية التي تكون قاهرة في بعض في بعض المجالات أو بعض تجعل يعني هذه العوامل يعني آه، قد لا تساعد المؤمن على الإحساس باللذة الإيمانية. يعني
نعم.
أقصد بالأنظمة يعني النظام يعني كيف هذا الخوف يتحول.
مهم.
لكي لا أطيل،
طيب.
أعطي مثال بسيط أستاذ
نعم.
يشوه.
لماذا نخاف من المخلوق ولا نخاف من الخالق؟
تماما غير نعم نعم، شكرا أستاذ.
فهمت سؤال. بارك الله فيك.
جزاك الله خير.
نخاف من المخلوق، لكن نحن لا نخاف من المخلوق الذي نظن أنه نخاف منه. فمثلا في الحقيقة أن لا نحن في كما قلنا public speaking، نحن لا نخاف من هذا presentation. نحن عندما نشعر بالخوف نخاف من المدرس الذي كان يضربنا في المدرسة مثلا، لكننا لا نشعر يعني في عقلنا، لكن في المشاعر نحن الآن في هذا السياق هو نفس الشيء، نفس الحادث. نحن لا لا نفهم عقليا لماذا نخاف. هذا البرزنتيشن لا يضرنا، ولو حتى كل واحد منا الآن كل واحد منكم الآن سيقول لي كريم أنت غبي، وبرزنتيشن هذا برزنتيشن يعني كلام فارغ، يعني لا معنى له. هناك لماذا أنا أخاف؟ هل هذا سيقتلني؟ لا. أما لو أنني كنت مثلا في المدرسة والمعلم كان غاضبا وكان يضربني لأنني كان عندي مثلا الدرس، وأنا قلت شيئا وكنت مخطئا، وهو ضربني وقال أنت يا كريم أنت غبي، لماذا تجيب بهذا الجواب؟ فهذا الخوف يأتي من هنا، من المدرسة، من الطفولة. يعني عندما نتصرف الآن كيف نخاف من الله ونحن ما زلنا وما زلنا في طفوليتنا، نتصرف كأننا الأطفال في هذه اللحظة عندما نتصرف. وهذا نقطة جيدة لا بأس أن أذكر هنا أن كثير من الناس يحاولون استعمال علم تزكية النفس بدلا من علم النفس الإسلامي. فمثلا هؤلاء الأشخاص يقولون عندنا نفس الأمارة بالسوء والنفس المطمئنة ونفس اللوامة ونفس المطمئنة، صح؟ ويحاولون استعمال علم التصوف بدلا من العلم النفس الإسلامي. لكن الشيء الذي نتحدث هنا الآن في نيوروزيس وفي مشاكل كالقلق والاكتئاب والغضب والوحدة، كل هذا سيأتي قبل النفس الأمارة بالسوء. هناك مثلا أنا كنت أتحدث عن الشباب الذين يخافون من البنات. قلت لكم أن هناك في روسيا شيء اسمه بيك اب كوتشنج. يعلمون الشباب كيف يتحدثون مع البنات مثلا. وهؤلاء الشباب هم في المرحلة ما قبل النفس أمارة بالسوء. النفس أمارة بالسوء الشخص يرى بنتا
أستاذ كريم
نعم.
أعتذر على المقاطعة،
نعم.
ولكن we still have only 10 minutes.
أوكي، سأنتهي في الكلام. هؤلاء الشباب يخافون من المشاعر، يخافون من الانستنكت، يخافون من شيء فيهم الذي يجعلهم يعني حيوان. يخافون من شيء منهم، يخافون من الكلام مع النساء. هم في المرحلة ما قبل النفس أمارة بالسوء. نحتاج أولا إلى علم النفس الإسلامي. And now I'm going to say in English, so just to make it fast. People would like to use tasawwuf. People would like to use tazkiyah to nafs to resolve problems such as anxiety, depression. It does not work this way. To go into tasawwuf, you already have to be a healthy person, because if you are a neurotized individual, most probably you're going to find as your teacher, as your Sufi sheikh, whatever, some kind of person with the narcissistic personality disorder, and you're going to get stuck in a classic toxic relationship. I have an experience of working with his clients, for example, who are dealing with panic attacks, but they're asking the same question: why am I scared of dying? I'm supposed to be Muslim. I'm supposing to be looking forward to die and meet Allah. It does not work this way. First of all, we need to fix the nafs. We need to make nafs as a whole. First of all, we have to be functioning animals, functioning members of society. Then, as Muslims, we have to do our basic faraid in terms of Iman, in terms of Islam, yes. And then, if you want to go to the stage, أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك, then and only then we can go to the tasawwuf. And then we can say, why am I scared of makhluk when I'm supposed to be khalik? I think that would be the answer. Complex emotion, I'm not sure. It depends what you mean when you say complex emotions. If you mean you have different symptoms, we always, yes. If you speak about like there are different things, like for example, you have fear and then you have shame, you have anger, the way I work is we always start with emotion which is creating the biggest problem. Always. So for example, person can say, I have anger and I have shame, but my real problem is I am scared of people that I've never met before. It's the real problem, and it creates most strongest experience in the body. This is where you're going to start working with. And also, but that's another discussion, because sometimes emotions can have different layers. So for example, a person comes and say, a real story from practice, I want to work with anger. A woman is angry, let's say, at her partner, and we start working with anger. What are we looking there? There is fear. There is fear. Anger is just a superficial level, but we're going to go deeper. We will find out the person is scared of something. And once we resolve the fear, there is no need to be angry, because anger is just a protective layer. And there's another question. هذا مثلا عندما أقرأ عن النفس المطمئنة وأشعر أنني لست مطمئنة بسبب الخوف والقلق، فهذه لا، ليس هذا يعني أن تكون في الجنة. هذا لا يعني هذا يا منى. كيف يمكن لمرحلة الطفولة أن تؤثر في نفسية الإنسان؟ وقل يكون وما هي كيف يمكن لمرحلة الطفولة أن تؤثر في نفسية الإنسان، وكيف لا يمكن يا إيمان؟ فمثلا أبوك أو مثلا الوالدان كان يعلمان يعني اللغة العربية كاللغة الأصلية عندك. هل كان لهذا تأثير؟ طبعا نعم. ومثلا كان يعلماني أشياء أخرى كأشياء من الأخلاق، وأنت عندك الآن بعض الأشياء أنت تفهمينها بطريقة معينة، وأنت لا تشعرين، أنت لا تشعرين بهذا. كيف لا؟ كيف لا؟ هذه هي أعراض. Of course, your childhood is going to shape you. Childhood is going to shape you because you don't have critical capacity of thinking. Because you are an empty page And you cannot say when your teacher during the presentation is telling you, for example, yes, you are stupid. You cannot say, teacher, you know what? You are a bad teacher. You did not teach us properly. Also, I saw you walked in angry. And now you start making me responsible for your teaching mistakes. But I'm not stupid. You calling me stupid is just your opinion. I am not your opinion about myself. We didn't have that capacity and that level of critical thinking, isn't it? So, of course, we were taking it all in uncritically. And as a result, it impacts and it shapes how we think, how we feel about ourselves, and how we interact with others. That's also great responsibility for everyone here who is the teacher as well. You really have people's destinies in your hands. Because we had 10 minutes. What are we? Okay. What you call it? I can see that Ustada Sarah has left, so maybe the meeting is over, but if there are any questions, you can... Okay, Sarah is back. So is there any questions if we still have time?
Any questions? Okay. We can end the workshop.
So there will be recording, right? For everyone who missed.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, perfect.
As we come to the end of this enriching session, we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Professor Karim Maliki for his
Barakallahu fikum.
thoughtful and insightful contribution. Today we reflected on an often neglected but deeply important topic: how to understand and manage our emotions and mental well-being through a faith-based perspective. Professor Karim reminded us that emotional struggles are not signs of weakness, but opportunities for self-awareness, spiritual growth, and reconnection with our Creator. We hope that today's sessions sparked reflections, opened space for honest conversation, and offered tools rooted in both tradition and compassion. Thank you to all of you who joined us, asked questions, and engaged. May this discussion continue beyond today, and may we will all be guided to care for our hearts, minds, and souls with wisdom and sincerity. Thank you all. Thank you, Professor Karim.
Barakallahu fikum. Thank you for your kind invitation and your time and attention.
Thank you.